Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Ria. I am your host, and I'm pleased to introduce back again Lee Harris from Blue Marine Travel out of New Zealand. How are you, Lee?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, it's been a busy week, so all good.
Great. Well, we actually had a bit of an issue because you guys were, your time went ahead an hour this week, and you were waiting for me an hour ago.
Yeah, unfortunately so. Yeah, I wasn't the brightest, I've got to say. So I was sitting here an hour ago, wondering where you were until it took me about 10 minutes to realise my mistake.
I'll say 10 minutes. That's pretty good time, though.
Yeah, it is for me anyway.
I gotta say, I work in so many different time zones that sometimes I get confused as well. So it's not even time change. It's sometimes just the fact that you're not sure whether or not the meeting that you have planned or the interview that you have planned is your time zone or their time zone. And when you're dealing with yachting hotspots in not only the U.S. but of course New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, the Med, UK. There are a lot of time zones that you've got to keep sort of straight in your head, and sometimes it's not easy.
Yeah, it must be difficult for you. You must be a mind reader, Ria. That's what I have to be.
No, I have a great calendar system on my email. If I had to rely on my mind, I would be so lost a long time ago. So what's going on in the world of travel? I mean, you know what? I'm going to start off with South Africa because right now, well, I mean, it's not even right now. Straight through for the past since March, South Africa has been sort of top of mind awareness, and even if something hasn't changed, there are still questions daily on South Africa. I saw something on social media the other day. Somebody was wondering if it would be possible for them to take their 2-week vacation and head home to South Africa, be able to return to their yacht. Is that even a possibility? Should they even be thinking about that at the moment?
It's to be honest, it's up in the air at the moment. We talked last week with regards to South Africa and the fact that they're reopening their borders from the 1st of October. However, they still haven't announced the definitive list of who they're going to let into the country. So at this moment, anybody who's attempting to do anything, just sit tight another couple of days. They've said that they're going to have the list out of who's allowed in and into the country before the 1st of October. So I would say we're probably looking at Monday, Tuesday that we'll get the list. Once we have that in place, we know exactly the state of play, and then people can take it from there of what they can and can't do.
Wonderful. Well, and I mean, the other thing that I have to say is contact the people that know. I can guarantee you that if you go on to any of these sites, anywhere, that if you ask a question such as that, you're going to get 100 answers. Maybe one of them is going to be right, but good luck finding out which one is right because 99 will be wrong. And it's probably best to reach out, whether it be tickets that you'd be needing in the area in which you're planning on working, or whether it be travel questions. I would suggest you reach out to those that actually do that for a living.
Yeah, I mean that's that would be my advice as well. To be honest with you, the internet's great and forums are great. You can get collaborative ideas, brilliant. If you've got a specific question, go to people who know the answer. Because in all honesty, you do get a lot of people on the internet who think they know everything. It's just life. People don't know, or not even the fact that maybe they think they know everything, or they might be trying to do good and they may try and find the information for you. But if you're not in that profession and you don't know, the little intricacies and all the rest of it, you could lead people up the wrong, garden path, so to speak. So yeah, definitely reach out to people who are in the industry. Especially at this moment of time when things can change. You could put something on the internet 2 days later. That information could be completely different. That's how quick it's still changing at this time, 6 months later. So yeah, most definitely reach out to people who are in the industry, who know what they're doing, and who can give you the most up-to-date information.
Well, and the thing is, it's not necessarily that you're going to have to pay for that information. Most of these people that do this for a living, firing off an email that takes them all of a minute and a half, they're more than happy to provide that information in order to steer crew in the right direction.
Oh, most definitely. We most people in the industry, in the travel industry, we know how difficult it is for crew at the moment. It's not easy for them. Like we've said before on this show, they do have the worry about whether they can get home, the added costs of getting home now with regards to certain countries with quarantine and all the rest of it. So, if they do need to fire off questions, feel free to do it to us. We don't mind that, and we'll happily answer the questions for them. Okay, you can stick it on a forum. that's entirely your choice if you want to do that, but just be aware that maybe the information you get back from that might not be the most accurate.
Right. Well, what's going on in New Zealand? That's been another sort of hotbed of, well, I mean, with quarantines and having to pay for quarantines, there's been some issues out of New Zealand there for a while too.
Yeah, so they've now stuck another protocol in the mix now for crew getting home. So as from the 5th of October, New Zealand border authorities are introducing a system whereby you have to apply for a voucher for your place in the managed isolation, which you have to undertake when you arrive back in the country. The website you will need to apply for your voucher is www.miq.govt.nz. Now, once the crew member has completed their registration on the system, they will be issued a voucher that confirms their place in managed isolation. They will need to present that voucher at the airport in order to board their flight. Now, New Zealand authorities are allowing a grace period. So this is from the 5th of October and through till the 2nd of November. For travellers who are arriving through the grace period, you are strongly encouraged to get a voucher to confirm your place in managed isolation before you board your flight. Crew who arrive at the airport without a voucher during the grace period will still be able to board their flight. However, their check-in process will be longer whilst the airline staff work with the managed isolation and quarantine team to arrange a place in the managed isolation. But crew are legally required, though, to have a voucher before flying if they're arriving in New Zealand after midnight on the 3rd of November. If you attempt to board a flight for New Zealand after this time, airlines will not be permitted to board you if you do not have the voucher. So it's vitally important to make sure you have this new required document after the 3rd of November.
We're going to make sure to have this information on the bottom of the interview for people out there, just to make sure. I mean, dates and, of course, the website that they need to go to.
Yeah, definitely. It's just for some unknown reason they've now put another like I said, another protocol in place that people have to follow. So it's but like I said, it's vitally important. There is that grace period. So if you do forget between the 5th of October and the 3rd of November, you will still be able to board your flight. But after the 3rd of November, if you don't get the voucher, then you won't be. You'll be denied boarding.
So hard to believe how in 7 short months, we used to view airline travel is almost as simple as taxis. You didn't even have to call one. You just rocked up, you jumped on, and you got off at your destination, and there was no thoughts given. I mean, the days of, men and women having their bachelorette parties and waking up in another city entirely without actually remembering how they got there. I mean, that's not happening, and I'm not sure if it ever will again.
No, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, it's just another thing that people are putting in place, and it's. I understand it. I can understand the reasons for why they need to do it again, because if they don't do that, we're going to end up with another situation like Australia, where you've got a backlog of people needing to get home, which can lead to a month or 2 months or 3 months where you're struggling to find seats. But it's just tough, because it's just another thing you've got to remember before you're traveling now. So it's tough times for travelers.
Yeah, it sure is. What's going on in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly touch on Sri Lanka, as flights are extremely limited at present into the country, and obviously only Sri Lankan nationals allowed back home. However, it's vitally important that any Sri Lankan crew attempting to get home first get in contact with their local Sri Lankan embassy wherever they are currently situated. The reason is all returning Sri Lankan nationals hoping to fly back into Colombo Airport need to gain a special approval before any airline carrier operating into Sri Lanka will be allowed to carry them. Again, without the special approval, they will be denied boarding.
In Colombia, what's going on there?
Yeah, so Colombia, there's some good news with regards to Colombia. So it's been announced this past week that the country will be reopening to some international travel as from the 28th of September. To begin with, Avianca, the national carrier, will be flying to Miami and New York in the United States. Then from the 1st of October, they'll be resuming flights from Bogota to Ecuador, Mexico and Brazil. And then on the 15th of October, they'll be flying to Bolivia, the Dominican Republic, Chile, and also into Washington, D.C. in the United States. Obviously, this is a welcome boost to crew needing to travel back to Colombia, as the borders have been closed to international travel for 6 months.
Well, we do have some great news that's going to save a ton of money. Qatar Airways.
Yeah, it is. So anybody who has flown will know the sky-high prices to get internet on the respective airline you're flying with. It's been welcome news this week with Qatar Airlines announcing that they're offering passengers 100 days of free use of its super Wi-Fi connectivity. Basically, the initiative marks the airline's achievement of fitting over 100 of its planes with high-speed broadband. The promotion runs from the 25th of September through until the 2nd of January. Yacht crew flying with Qatar don't need to download the Qatar Airways app to use the service. They can connect to the internet with any Wi-Fi enabled device that they're traveling with.
Wow, that saves you a lot of money. I know I have traveled and throughout the airports and on the, I mean, it is astronomical. It's like, I don't know, an extra 2 pieces of luggage jumping on board your plane with you. It's that expensive.
It is. It's crazy price. They really know how to charge with broadband. So yeah, it's good news. It's good that Qatar Airlines have done it. It's 100 days. So make the most of it. You're not going to be limited to their choice of videos on there. You can watch Netflix to your heart's content.
Yay! Where would we be without Netflix? Let me ask.
I should say, and any other streaming platform. I'm not promoting Netflix here unless they want to pay me.
That's right. Brought to you by flashing neon lights. So, do you have any crew questions this week?
We did. We had one this week, which was from Joe. Basically, he wanted to know if he's able to travel back to work on the yacht situated in the USA, and he would be flying from Europe. The good news is, Joe, that you can, provided you're holding a B1, B2 visa or a Type C visa, then you are okay to travel back to the USA to work on the yacht.
Well, that is good news because it's really difficult, and especially now. We've talked about it for the last 3 weeks, I think, with Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. A lot of people aren't able to go because they would be going as tourists, not necessarily for work, to the show. There's just no way. With a lot of the conversations that I've had with people across Europe, they're like, we just can't go. Even if we wanted to, we can't.
No, that's all right. I mean, that's the important part of the question. You do have to have that B1, B2, or the C1 visa. Without those, and if you're going in as a tourist, you're not going to get in the country. Especially from the Schengen area, or the red zone as they call it. Absolutely no chance you're going to be getting into the country.
Well, we'll see if that changes, but it doesn't look like it's going to be changing anytime soon with the way the numbers are heading straight across Europe and the US.
Yeah, they're both the wrong side of it, aren't they, at the moment? So, I mean, there has been talk about air bubbles opening up between. I saw this week that they were talking about New York and London. How close they are to that, I don't know. It would be great to get back. A lot of people like to travel either from the USA to the UK or vice versa. Like we've talked before, with COVID testing now that they can do prior to boarding, and then on arrival again, I'm of the opinion we need to start getting these places open up. And it's easy for me to say, and I know I have a vested interest because I work in the travel industry. But I think we're in a position now where we weren't possibly 6 months ago, where we can start to get these little travel bubbles opened up. Especially with the testing, how it's come on now, it's a lot more quicker. So yeah, I think we should be at least trying to get them open anyway.
Well, I saw an article that Onboard Online wrote just the other day. There was Beck from Virtual Pursers. She had taken the flight from, I forget where she started, but she was trying to get to her destination. I'm sure you saw that article. I think you shared it as well.
Yeah, I read it. Yeah.
And she ended up contacting COVID-19, and her crewmate didn't, and they were on all the same flights. They were on all the same, but there was a certain parcel of those in Doha, I think, where all of a sudden all precautions were thrown to the wind, and she must have contacted it there.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to know exactly where it was contracted, isn't it? I mean, what I would say from what I can gather from the article, it seems to have been sort of 3-4 months ago when COVID, not when it was first started out, but it was in its infancy, shall we say. I'd like to think, and I'm pretty sure Qatar Airlines, especially because they're renowned for their high customer service and all the rest of it. And I would imagine within that 4 months that they've got a process in place now where that kind of thing's not going to be happening.
But I think one of the lessons for me was that here is an extremely fit 35-year-old woman that had no underlying health issues whatsoever. And as well as her crewmate, there was no difference between the two. It just so happened that she contacted it, and she isn't, you hear a lot of people saying, oh, I'm fine. I'm in the age gap or in the age bubble between 18 and 40, and so it shouldn't affect me, etc. But in this case, here's a very, very healthy and fit. I mean, if you're crew, you're healthy and fit, young, 35, used to traveling all the time, and it hit her hard.
Yeah, it did. Like I said, I've read the article, and she really went through the mire, and it's awful to read. Especially when it's somebody that obviously and I know as well. So, but it's strange, isn't it? COVID. I know that if you look at the figures that they put out there, and the certain age brackets that are more susceptible to it. But for whatever reason, there are the odd pockets in the different age brackets that do seem to get hit hard. But then on the other hand of that, the flip side, there's people who don't have anything at all. They're they can carry on with their normal lives, and the rest of it doesn't seem to affect them so much. So, there's obviously still a grey area with regards to COVID and how it actually affects individual people's bodies.
Yeah, I think the lesson is that, straight across the board, we can't have the arrogance of age or health on our side. We just have to assume that either we can catch it or we can carry it and pass it on to somebody else. And we just need to be careful.
Yeah, again, I'm a great believer in people need to just take care. Look, if you look after yourself, if everybody just looks after themselves, you follow the protocols to put in place, you wear your face mask out in public, you social distance as much as you possibly can, then the likelihood is you're going to be fine. But unfortunately, you do see on the news and on the television and other places as well that you have the small minority of people who are slightly ignorant or arrogant, or just think that it's not going to happen to me or the people I know, who go to the extremes of you saw in the UK with people cramming on the beaches, or a couple of weeks ago when they were going to put Blackpool into lockdown, they'd announced that they were going to put them into lockdown on the Monday. So the whole, it almost seemed like the whole town decided to go crazy on the Saturday night. And you just think it just completely defeats the object. So yeah, like I said, I'm a great believer. You look after yourself. If everybody looks after themselves, then you're obviously on the right lines to look at, to basically looking after yourself and doing as much as you possibly can not to contract it.
Well, and I have to laugh at those people that are saying a mask is limiting their freedom of speech, because I sure as heck can see their freedom of speech all over social media. So it ain't limiting your freedom of speech, I can tell you that much.
We need to get mittens for them as well, so they can't type.
Yeah. Anyways, Lee, it has been an absolute pleasure as always.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Once again, this has been Lee Harris, Blue Marine Travel, with your weekly crew travel updates. My name is Ria. I have been your host. Tune in again for another episode.